This is a video for Chinese 202 Lesson 1. We are going over the particle le. The particle le can indicate that an action has occurred. Le may come after a verb, between a verb and quantified object, which is shown in examples 1 and 2, or after an unquantified object at the end of a sentence, shown in example 3. So for example 1, we can say 昨天晚上我看了一个电影. Last night I saw a movie. In here you can see that le is in between a verb 看 and a quantified object 一个 one 电影 movie one movie. For example 2, 小王刚才在网上买了2本书. Little Wang bought 2 books online a moment ago. Here the verb is 买 and the quantified object is 2本书 2 books. For example 3, if someone asked you 你昨天晚上做什么了? What did you do last night? You could answer 洗衣服了. And here, 了 is at the end of a sentence because there is an unquantified object of clothes that you washed in this case. Just note that sentences with le that indicate the occurrence of an action usually have a time phrase, and all 3 of these examples have a time phrase. For example 1, it's 昨天晚上 last night. For example 2, it is 刚才 just now, or a moment ago. And for example 3, it is 昨天晚上 as well, so last night. When the sentence does not have a time phrase, then you can automatically assume that what the speaker is talking about has just happened in the immediate past. So 2 other uses of le is that le can indicate an action that will be occurring in the future. So le, when you see le, it doesn't necessarily mean that an action has happened. It can also mean that an action will happen. So you can see in example 4, we can use le and say 明天我吃了早饭去机场. Tomorrow I'll go to the airport after breakfast. So 吃了早饭以后, after you're eating breakfast, you'll go to the airport. Sentences with le that indicate the occurrence of an action usually have a time phrase, as in examples 1, 2, and 3 of the previous slide. When the sentence doesn't have a time phrase, the time is implied to be in the immediate past. So if someone asked you, 这本书你看了吗? Did you read this book? You could just simply answer, 我看了. Yes, I read it. Now, if you had a time phrase, let's say last night, you could say 我昨天晚上看了. However, there isn't a time phrase in this case, so it's just 我看了. Yes, I read it. When le appears between a verb and object, as shown in the previous example 1, the object is usually quantified. So for example, 昨天晚上我看了一个电影. Last night I saw a movie. Here the verb is 看 plus le plus 一个电影, the quantified object. However, the object doesn't necessarily have to be quantified if it follows one of the 3 conditions. And these 3 conditions are shown by each of the 3 examples below. So the first is if the object is followed by another le. So for example 6, 我给小黎打了电话了. I called little Li. The phone call, 电话, is not quantified because there is a second le that follows it. So if you wanted to quantify this sentence, you could say 我给了小黎打了一个电话, and then you could just take out this extra le. For example 7, the condition that is followed here is that the object is followed by another clause, so the object does not need to be quantified. 张天明买了机票. 就回家了. Here, the object is the 机票, and after that is the second clause 就回家了, and that is why there is no quantified object. For example 8, the condition is that the object refers to a definite person or thing. So, 昨天我在学校里看见了小王. Yesterday I saw little Wang at school. And here the definite object is 小王, so there is no need to quantify the object. When le occurs at the end of a sentence, it may signify the occurrence or realization of an event, state, or new situation. In example 9, it says 10月了,天气慢慢冷了. It's October. The weather is gradually getting cold. And here the first le is signifying that there is a change of state from being September to October. So 10月了,天气慢慢冷了. And the occurrence or realization of a new situation is that the weather is becoming colder. 天气慢慢冷了. When there are two verb phrases in a sentence, the first verb phrase is followed by le. The two actions are consecutive. Action 2 occurs immediately after action 1. So, for example 10, 我下了课再去找你. After class, I'll go look for you. Action 1 is 下了课, so after class ends, and action 2 is 去找你, I'll go look for you. So in this sentence, right after class ends, I'm gonna come look for you. So the two actions occurs consecutively. Well, this was a video on the particle le and the many uses that it has. Le is a simple yet very complicated grammar in the Chinese language, so take your time learning it.